no. Sasa, edrubianka den.
Hello, everybody. This is 𝗟𝗏𝗘𝗿𝗍𝒻𝗏𝗏𝗡 Unbreakable.
Wow. We are back again, and it's a Monday. 𝗟𝗏𝗘𝗍𝒻 so Anna Yeduno. Samubakaya, last week we were here with some gentlemen and we're discussing the problem. Today we want to look at exploring the solutions to unemployment in Ghana. So we promise you that today we are coming with what in our minds and in our opinions will be solutions to the looming unemployment in Ghana. And this morning I am honored to have Francis Okwama, Youth Development Practitioner. He's a co-founder of youthcommunity.org. And I also have with me here my brother 𝗟𝗏𝗍𝗏𝗘 Jr., President of Rotational Nurses and Midwives Association. You're welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right. Let's start from Oko. Oko, last week we were looking at the problem. I want you to paint the picture of unemployment in Ghana among the youth from where you sit.
Okay, thank you very much. So, for us, for a better context to understand what the issue is, when you look at Ghana's population, according to the last population census, about 31 million, 32 million thereabout. That's not a small number. Now, out of this number of people, 35% are between 0 to 14 years. That's like children. And then 38 from 15 to 35. Then there are about 4% of people who are like 65 plus. So you see that looking at the population of Ghanaians in itself, young people are the majority. Okay. Now, when you look at this population, you realize that about 60% of the young people are also located in urban areas. Now, this gives you a picture of who is even located where, how many people we are, how young the Ghanaian population is, and all of that. You need the energies, because the young people are the ones very energetic. They are the ones who are coming to work in the labor force to, support the development and the economic of the country. Yeah. And these are very young people. Now, from a politician's or a development person's perspective, we have priority areas for our short-term or long-term development plans. You know where you would want the country to be in 50 years, in the next 20 years, in the next 10 years. So, before we even come to unemployment, one of the sectors that helps us to reduce unemployment is education, skills building, and all of these things that the young people need. One, we are understanding that the Ghanaian population is young. Young people are the majority, and it's true. You just walk across the street on your area, you see the number of young people, those going to school, going to work early Monday morning. Like, you will see that yes, indeed, our population is very young. So how do we then take advantage of this resource that we have of young people? So first of all, we see the young people as a resource, and we understand how we can shape these resources to benefit the country as a people. Now, what do we want as a country the next 10 years, the next 15 years? So that if a child was born this month, who may be between the 0 to 14 years, in the next 20 years, what would you have provided for that child to be able to work to support this country's development? Because in the next 10, 20 years, the child will not be of the same age. They would be a young adult. So you see how you plan even ahead. That's why things like the population census is done every 10 years to make sure that you take account of these things so you can provide infrastructure, you can provide development for the people. It's like I can reduce this to a typical Ghanaian household where you are a family man. You have your wife and your children. You know that you have 2 children. You know that this is the income that you have. How are you planning so that your child who is 5 years old today, when they get to 18, they have access to the quality tertiary education you want, or the skills? It could be an apprenticeship or some sort of skill development for the child to be able to achieve their dreams and even contribute to the development of your household, where when you are old, as an old man, you know that there are social support systems like your retirement plan and all, but your child is standing on their feet to support themselves, their household, and you as a family man. So Ghana it's like that, and we know that as a country, there are very key drivers of the economy. Employment is one, health, education, and there are other key areas that we put like, how do I say, we invest in so that we can benefit as a country. Now, when you look at education and skills development, I am adding skills development because education is not the only formal, but the other informal sectors that we are also able to inject that generate even employment for the country. Then there is that. Now, what investments are we making as a country now? What investment in education are we making as a country now? Now, when you look at the investment you make today, before you even make investments today, you also look at what investments have been made in the past. There are secondary schools that were built prior to independence, and they are still active today. Some may not be active. What happened? So you also check things that have happened before. What went well? What didn't go on well? What are the existing programs and what are the gaps? Can we see where the gaps are to make it better? Maybe some may bring out new programs and development projects, but from a development person's perspective, you look at what are the existing structures. Are they working? If they are working, what is working well? If they are not working, what is not working well? You also have to bear in mind that 10 years ago, how certain things were is not the same today. The same as 20 years ago. You understand? So you also take cognizance, like notice of the important changes and trends. How can you even tap into some emerging industries and make it positively? 10 years ago or 15 years ago, nobody was talking about AI. But today, it's a big industry, and you see universities bringing out courses to make sure that they prepare the young people for the future. You understand? So you also take notice of the changing trends, the emerging trends coming up, and you see how you can take advantage of that into your development policies. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, mobile money was not even such a thing. But it took a university student in Kenya who took advantage of technology. And today, it's integrated in our lives. Like, you go to the informal sector, market women are taking advantage of it. You go to the formal sector, you literally do not necessarily have to have cash on you. And you can make transactions and all. The people who led these innovations were young people. They took advantage of the opportunities, technology, education, and all of these skills. So we have enough evidence that yes, our population is young. We have enough evidence that there have been some development structures. We have enough evidence to know what is working, what is not working, and then we know what to do. So as a country, from a development person's perspective, we can influence policy when there are dialogues with our policy makers and all of that, and make them also see. But at the end of the day, they make the decisions. Our reps are representing us in parliament. We have our ministers who have the technical know-how and all. But even they admit that they are not working alone. We need to work together.
Okay. Now, will you say that government has not been deliberate when it comes to youth unemployment?
I'm trying to be very diplomatic. You know our people. Government can do more. Government can do more. I wish, last week's discussion with our NAPCO president, it was a very heated discussion because there is, for some reason, for successive governments in Ghana, you realize that everybody wants to bring their own policy or initiative. So it's like, this is ours. But if you look at the true patriotism of our forefathers that led this country to independence. It was not about what I did. You are doing it for Ghana. You see the patriotism in some of the development projects that was initiated, some of which are still serving us to this day. You understand how many years later? So we need to move away from, okay, this government brought this initiative, this government brought that initiative, and look at what exists. How did it work in the past? What is changing? How can we make it better? Once you make it better, it continues to serve the purpose that it has been served. Because when you start a whole new initiative based on a gap you identify in the previous initiative, but you don't maintain that initiative and start a whole initiative, and then later you realize that maybe support for funding and there are other new gaps, and so you scrap that initiative off. Sometimes it's almost as if resources has been wasted because it's not sustainable.
Yeah. Okay. Very much well. We are happy to have Ibrahim Haruna. He is the president, Graduate Unemployed Nurses and Midwives Association. My brother, you are welcome to our studios online.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so I am wondering how different your association is from the Unemployed Association of Ghana. What is the difference?
The difference is we are specifically nurses and then midwives.
Okay, all right. So some years ago you were in the position of Amabile Junior. You were rotational nurses and midwives.
Yes.
And after your rotation, you were not employed or you were not stationed. Let me say, or you were not posted. Let me put it that way.
Yes, please.
All right. What do you think accounted for this? Today we don't want to discuss the problem, but because you were not with us last week, what do you think has accounted for these seeming nurses and midwives not being posted after work, after rotation?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. My greetings to all your viewers. I would say that it is like poor planning of the stakeholders in charge of the postings, and then the service in itself. I mean the health service.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So you think it's basically poor planning?
That's what I think.
Okay. Poor planning in regards to the consistency of who is going out as a person who has finished his work or retired, and those of you who are coming into your new positions. Is that what you call poor planning?
When I say poor planning, in this case, I mean poor planning towards the coming professionals. Okay. Because I remember we've been to the Ministry of Health. We've had several engagements with the Ministry of Finance as well, and from that time till now, what I've realized is they don't have a specific plan for us.
Okay. Okay.
And the only thing that will let them post us will be maybe pressure. Because from what I see, there is no specific plan. When you go there, they can't tell you that from the time you completed the school, you were put on rotation. They don't have any specific plan. So that is why from the rotational nurses to post-rotation, there are always challenges with enrollments and then payment of allowances or salaries.
Okay.
Because that's the problem, what I have observed.
Okay.
There is totally no planning.
Okay, I'll come to you. I can see you. Maybe add this one to it. Do you think it is necessary at all to form an association? And by this I'm asking, what is the reason for forming an association of unemployed graduate nurses and midwives? Indeed, I have heard some religious people bash you in that they say you don't have faith. You have put a derogatory name on yourself. Unemployed graduate nurses and midwives. Are you people that satanic? Are you demonic?
You see, as I'm speaking, I am a nurse by profession.
Okay.
And then as a nurse by profession, I can't just go into the hospital and start practicing. So, and then establishing a hospital or a facility is not in my range. I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't start a hospital. And so that is why and my services are equally needed by the nation.
Yeah.
You see, since 2020, I completed the school. You know, because there is no planning, the government could have, or the stakeholders could have said that, oh, we are on our way getting you enrolled, and so maybe it will take 2 months or 3 months, so that you yourself will have a plan for yourself, because you after school you know what to survive.
But yeah, Haruna, I'm specifically asking why your team saw the need to form an unemployed association, because that is what I want you to. Is it not? Yes.
Okay. I wanted to build.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You see, if we hadn't formed this group, you know, myself, we have to survive.
Okay.
And so you can't just go into any other field and start working. And the only way to get our postings is to engage those stakeholders. I can't do that alone.
As a collective team.
Yes, and so we have to come together.
All right. So for that collective
stakeholders.
For that collective bargain.
Hello, come again.
I'm asking that it was because of the collective bargain, the collective power.
That's exactly that.
All right. Now, what is the date of your incorporation? When were you formed? What is the date of incorporation? And
it was formed right after our rotation. Which
year?
Somewhere 2021, 2022.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we will be back for you to give us what, in your opinion, is the solution. You are the president of this association. Howbeit we don't like your name, but whatever it is, that is the situation on the ground. Yes. What, in your opinion, together with your team, is the solution? And that is our discussion today. But I'll be back to you. Your junior brother 𝗟𝗡𝗅 is here. You know him. You know Kwame 𝗟𝗡𝗅.
Yes, please. I'm always in touch with him.
All right. Who will soon join your organization? I'm sure he will become your president and you move on.
Yeah. We pray he doesn't.
In Jesus' name. In Jesus' name.
We want to curb this canker.
Yes.
And so it is possible. It is possible that this unemployed professional nurses doesn't exist. That's why I'm saying it is lack of planning, total improper planning. And so it can be kept. So we are praying that after our time, they will just be enrolled on the system right away.
Okay. Will you collapse the association? Will you go to Registrar General and have it withdrawn from their books? If it's so happy.
That's why we are praying.
Okay. All right, let's keep praying. But Oko, you wanted to say just some 30 seconds before I come to Kwame.
Yeah, so for the lack of proper planning, I know today we are looking at the solutions. So a quick solution, and this is not something difficult to do, because Ghana gained independence since how many years? So we've been working. So we know the number of nurses and midwives that are enrolled yearly. The system has a stock of, we should have a stock of the number of nurses and midwifery training schools.
Okay, you are going to the solution.
Exactly, okay. Because
all right,
we shouldn't even get to this point where they would have to form an association, and they said they have to register the association by the end when they finish their rotation. It shouldn't happen.
All right, but we are here and we are professing the solution. We'll come to you, Kwame. Let's come. You've been quiet for some time. So your senior is with the unemployed nurses and midwives. association. Something that we all hope it didn't get there, but we are there now. I'm sure, do you have some fears that if we are not careful, you might be entering into their shoes? God forbid, though.
All right, so before that, I'd like to say a very good morning to your listeners.
That's right.
And to family and friends watching.
Okay.
Also to our rotation nurses and midwives on the ward who are enjoying their offs, and to the unemployed nurses and midwives as well.
Yes. Did they tell you they were watching the last time? Did some of them?
Yes, some of them was watching.
All right.
Yeah, they tried calling in, but the line was busy.
Oh, I see. Today you can call in. We know that this program is mostly watched in the hospitals. We don't know, but that is what our survey shows, that for most of the hospitals, they tune into WTV in the morning, maybe because we are religious. So please, rotational nurses, today, let your calls come, speak to us. Your president is here. Yes, Kwame, continue.
Okay, so with the fear, is it like my senior rightly said, it is planning.
Okay.
And as it stands, per his observation, there are no plans as to when they will be posted. So there's a need for that pressure from that association to be on the government or the stakeholders before they take those actions, which is supposed not to be. So until those things are put in place, I'm sure we are going to go to the same thing. We were discussing among ourselves, the executives, the rotational nurse executives last time. We were saying that we don't even need to have this association, because if you look at our core mandates, it's basically about fighting for our members. And when we talk about their interests, it's solely about their welfare and the money they take. So over the years that this association has been formed, we've not been able to concretely say we've achieved our result. Over the years, that policy, I don't know whether it's a policy, but it hasn't been planned. Just that it's not executed on time. That's the payment of our allowance. The executives are going to work on it, submit letters, have meetings with the relevant authorities, but still, they have to finish their rotation, or they have to get to somewhere ending of their rotation. So you could see that there is no plan as to when the payment to be done. We are not saying you are on 6-month probation, so after that time, your document to be processed, so relax. As it stands now, there is no communication to us why our monies are delaying, when we are going to be paid, and when we should be expecting it. So there is no planning. You know, my brother here was saying that when you give birth to a child now, you should be planning. In the next 10 years or 20 years, that child is not going to use the
walker.
The walker, yes.
Yeah.
He's not going to use the walker again. He will be a full-grown adult, and its responsibilities come thereafter. So you have to start planning for the future before we even get there. So before we complete our service, as it stands now, there's no specific plan that is to transition us to the working force, you understand? So it's possible this association is going to exist and exist and exist. But then we don't want to get there. There should be planning. You visit the ministry or the relevant authorities to bargain on your people. And then there is no solid reassurance for you. No solid. We are working on it, and that's all. You understand? There's no solid. It means there is no plan. And when such things exist, you could see there is no way forward. You understand? So
yeah. Well, before we go in there, I want to know why, in your opinion, the regular national service people are paid. Sometimes it delays a month or two, but yours to 6 months is quite skyrocketing. Why, in your opinion, are they rather being sorted a little faster than your team?
So this comes to the division. When we ask, you see, with the National Service Secretariat, their requirement or their process differ from those under the Ministry of Health. And with the Ministry of Health, it has a very bulky process. For us, even the requirement they give to you to bring for you to be paid, it's a very bulk list. And they said, since we are paid by the ministry, we have to go through that process. There hasn't been any explanation to why our process delay. That's what I'm saying. Because it seems there is no plan. If those plans were to put in place, ours would also not be delaying. But then NSS has had the plan. though it has been delaying, but in 1 month or 2 months, they have some paid, and then they go forward, pay the arrears. But with the Ministry of Health, with those under the Ministry of Health, per our observation, since there is no communication to us to why those monies delay, we see that there is no plan. Maybe the plan is just to delay it. You know, I've been hearing a lot of people say that money has been chucked somewhere, they've used it for something, and then, but then we've not heard anything from them.
Yeah.
Yes, there's no communication, so it's hard to speak on that, why it has to be going that way.
All right. Yes, Oko.
Now, I just want to put all that he's saying and what our brother on the line also said in proper perspective. Now, for the lack of planning or the delay of their payments, you could see that there is a plan there, but maybe the systems are not as effective as they should. Because you know these people are rotational nurses. You know they have to take 𝗟𝗏𝗃 to work. For those who are driving, they have to fuel their car. And this is not like a new emerging industry where we are trying to test the waters to see what to work. Nurses, rotational nurses and nurses have been in Ghana and working for a crucial sector like health for decades. So by now, you should have done all your testing of the waters, what works, what doesn't work, and by now, some of these problems should not exist. You understand? If it is, say, the use of AI in some industries, this is something new, and you are testing the waters. But for nurses who are feeding an industry like the health industry, look at you look at your doctor-to-patient ratio. Sometimes midwives support the doctors. How many regions do we have? How many districts, constituencies for the politicians, and all of that? And they need, like, I just want us to understand that this is not like a new industry where we are trying to test, but nurses are needed. Like, it is not luxury. It is
the ability
a necessity
to pay that is the situation.
And once you know that the health sector, like they say, your health is your wealth. So as a country, if you are not investing, making the right investments in the health of your people, there won't be any labor force to work. And that is what is happening. Now, you see, I am not a rotational nurse. I am not a nurse. I am not even in the medical field. But from what he is saying, even communicating with them, that is why they have to form associations, because there is power in that, so that they can mount pressure. Now, even in the duties of the association, in their mandate, if you hear him correctly, he was saying that people have to write letters, send to ministries and all of that. These are very basic stuff. They are not asking that the ministry should build them houses for their pensions. They are asking for very basic things. What are they asking for? For their allowances, their monies, that when they go to work, they should be paid. Because when you go take 𝗟𝗏𝗃 or 𝗟𝗏𝗃, the driver will also ask for his lorry fare. If you are lucky, if you are even unfortunate, you have a family and children, when it's morning, they will need to be fed. These are very, very basic things. And that is what I want our listeners, those who are watching, and our viewers to understand. It's not like they're asking for something big. And that is why I have a problem with the religious people who find it very unfortunate that they even see it as bad for them to form association. I want all the religious people, someone who will sit down. I think I can understand when you look at graduate unemployed association. But you need to understand that in Ghana as we are, if he alone goes to Ministry of Health, please, I have not been paid. Nobody, it is likely that nobody will listen to him. If I go and I say I'm a development person speaking for them, who am I? Nobody will listen to me.
I'll go to the phone and be back. Now we are looking at the solution. I can see you are boiling with your solutions already. Let's go to Haruna. Now you have the whole Ghana listening to you now. What do you think, in your opinion, is the solution? Hello, Haruna, can you hear me?
Hello, I can hear you, boss.
Okay, sure. So I'm saying that now you have the whole Ghana listening to you. We are professing solutions to unemployment, and you can zero into your sector, nurses and midwives. What do you think is the solution and the way forward? What should government do? What should your people also do? You have the microphone now.
Thank you very much. As I said earlier, it is planning. And then when we went to Ministry of Health, it told us that our information has been forwarded to Ministry of Finance.
Okay.
And so they are waiting for clearance from them. So I don't know why we will have to stay complete rotation and stay home for a year or two before our information will be sent to Ministry of Finance. I think that can be done right away because all the information is with right from school. Ministry of Health has that.
Okay.
So you complete, they have that information until you are on your rotation. And so I think that right after the rotation, the information, if indeed they want to prioritize health,
okay,
that information must be available to Ministry of Finance or Ministry of Health.
Well, so you could obviously see this. It's one deliberate way of creating a decoy, so that time will be delayed a little bit. Because how can information of students who have well graduated, who became rotational nurses and midwives, now will have to be fed again into a certain ministry? That obviously appears a turnaround. But have you heard of Terminal 3?
Yes, please. I've heard of it.
Where did you hear Terminal 3, Haruna?
I heard Terminal 3. I've not been there, but I've heard it. It's at the airport. The International Airport.
All right. Obviously, Terminal 3 is in the airport. But among your fraternity, when we say Terminal 3, you know I'm referring to something. When a nurse or a midwife says Terminal 3.
Yes, I understand.
All right. So there is so much interest for us as a station because we once did an interview with the regular nurses, and it appears that a number of them are flying outside this country to go seek for greener pastures. The Deputy Minister Designate for Health has welded into this conversation and is saying, look, we have so much nurses, we've trained so many of them. Why don't we export them so that we can also gain foreign exchange? Will you agree with Deputy Minister of Health Designate?
Okay, I don't know why he said that, but I think Ghana need nurses more than we have now.
Oh, that is what you will say.
That's what I think.
Okay.
I don't know why he's saying that, but Ghana need nurses. You can get to the field and find out the ratio for nurse to patient. That is 1 to 18 as I speak. And so I don't see the need for exporting nurses whilst we need nurses here.
But your team alone, you are in your thousands and over. You are not being employed. Capturing your name and sending you to Ministry of Finance has even been over a year and more. Don't you think that if we export you, life will be better for you and also for the country? We'll get some small cash.
I don't think they have the capacity to do that, because just employing us over here, they are not able to come at a conclusion to that. They don't have a specific plan, and then when they are able to sit down and get a plan, I am very sure they will realize that the solution is not exporting nurses, but rather maintaining us here.
Okay, so for you,
unless maybe they want to get money from nurses or exploit nurses for the nation, for which I think it's not necessary now.
All right. So in your own opinion, apart from the planning bit, a number of you are home. What should government do? What should your employers do? What is the solution again apart from the planning?
They should sit down and get us our clearance. Clearance, because as I speak with you, from my checks, a lot of people, not less than 1,000 of us, have been enrolled on the system. They paid money.
Oh, when people
And
are
I'm
not
saying
working?
this, yes. And the ministry, I want to say, are exploiting from we the nurses who are not employed.
No, Haruna,
In
hold on.
thousands.
Haruna, hold on. Let's dig into this. Now, are you saying you have evidence to the fact that some of your members
That's it.
who have not started work have been enrolled on the controller and accountant general's database where they are being paid money?
That's why I'm telling you. We sent our PR. I sent our PRO to the Ministry of Health. Whatever I'm saying it based on our encounter with either Ministry of Finance or Ministry of Health.
Who collects this money? Is it your members?
That's our members.
And they are not working.
They are not working. So you are going to pay like 5,000 to 10,000 before you get enrolled on to go and serve the nation. Which is very, very pathetic. And you see, that's why I said the ministry has no proper plan. And so anyone at all in the ministry can just come up and exploit because they have access to the portal. As I'm telling you, my own classmates I sat in the same class with, about 6 of them has been enrolled.
All right. So that those who were enrolled, you mean have paid something. They put something under the desk.
That's it.
All right. And you are saying
right.
and you are saying you have evidence to this. Do you think this is a kind of a cartel within the health industry that is doing this, or these are just individuals approaching people, me pay Juma and pay something?
You see, I'm not saying let me give you one. We sent someone.
Okay.
Not our PRO. We sent that person to the ministry, and then we had already sent a letter for engagement with the minister. So we sent that person to follow up for us. And when she went, she was directed to an office, which they said that secretary will be in charge of, will have to attend to us. So when she went, she introduced herself that we have sent her, then have come to inquire the status of our clearance, whether it has been brought from Ministry of Finance as they have always been telling us. And then the lady, upon leaving, that man called her back. That, do you know anyone in the public sector or the government sector? The lady said no. Then she said, oh, then you stay home for long. No, that. So the lady came. I have the audio of that lady. She sent it to me. She was crying. So she said, so it means those of us, and I got so emotional that I don't know who takes charge of that to make sure those kind of things doesn't go on. Because it is if you say there is no money to enroll us, how are you paying those who you are taking money from to enroll? That's a problem. And then day in, day out on our platform, people receive calls and promising them that when you pay this amount of money, we can enroll you on the system in 2 weeks. So this is the system.
Wow. And how much is taken from them, and or better still, how much do people pay in order to?
Not less than 5,000 cedis.
Wow.
Not less than 5,000.
That is quite a pathetic one. But let's ask Kwame if you have evidence to, we keep talking about evidence, not because we do not believe Haruna what you are saying or any of what the guys here are saying, but because we are independent body and we live outside the opinion, we do not take those as being what we have said, so that we want to dissociate ourselves without evidence of everything that you have said. Not because we do not believe you,
I get you.
You understand how the work is? Yes. So, I mean, later in the days, if there are evidence to this, we are able to pick them and follow them up. But for now, we want to alert viewers that we are only discussing the way forward as to what we can do when it comes to how health nurses and by extension unemployed youth general will have some work to do. Yes, I was asking if you have evidence to this, that some people go behind and they pay.
So we have not been there yet.
Okay.
So I don't personally have any evidence. Like he was saying, he knows people from his class who have gone through such procedures to be enrolled. And then I mentioned here the last week that it's alleged that it's happening. It was through their communications. We saw it from our seniors saying that.
Yes, I remember you mentioned your seniors.
So it is through them that we got to know such things are happening.
Okay.
But we are not there yet, so we don't have any evidence to prove that maybe such things are ongoing as it stands.
Wow. I mean, so that these people who have been enrolled, does that mean that they have also been given a posting?
Obviously.
Or they are just taking the money and sitting?
We were talking of a plan.
Okay.
And then there should be a plan, maybe a system that if you finish school, maybe your badge, 12,000, these people will be posted in maybe 2 months after they are done with their service or this time duration. There is nothing like that as it stands. So far as you see, we are doing the rotation to have our license, that's our PIN. So when you are done with the rotation, you have access to that. I was talking about it the last time that you have it, you are not using it, but you renew it. So as far as you have your PIN, you should be employed. Okay. And since the individual have that PIN and know somebody from the public sector, just as my brother was saying, they asked the individual if she knows someone from the public sector, that individual can be put into the system.
Okay.
Like just as it's happening, because you are qualified, you have all the necessary documents to practice as a nurse. He is a professional nurse, he's mentioning, because he has everything, just that he is unemployed. Okay. So since I'm having that, and allegedly I know someone from the public sector, because there is no system to detect that this person graduated 2020 batch, which his badge has not yet been posted. His or her details will just be emerged into the system, and the person has been enrolled.
Wow.
So yeah.
All right. I wish I could have the speculated data of people out of the entire eclectic team. How many have gone through the back and have been? But let's go to Oko. Oko, we are looking at solution. Minister Nafe,
First of all, I have to say I'm very disappointed who Deputy Minister said exporting nurses, how do I say it, brings foreign exchange to the country and all that. First of all, I know from basic principles that they say love your neighbor as yourself, not more than yourself. You export when you have satisfied your needs. So Ghanaians should die. Look at the ratio of doctor to patient and then nurses to patients. It's not looking good. So we are not at the time where we have to, like, we are not ready yet to export nurses. Nurses that are going because other people are promising and giving them better working conditions. That is what we need to do. A rotational nurse shouldn't wait 6 months when their allowances have not been paid. What would they feed on? And like nurses, like they do a lot of like work. Their work is very sensitive, and the kind of patients they handle, the kind of cases and things they handle in the hospital. If you pass through an emergency ward and you see nurses literally running 100 meters, like just to save lives, and so if you the one working to literally save lives, you are not being taken care of. Definitely Terminal 3 will be your way out, because other people are promising to take care of you better than your own country. This is not a matter of foreign exchange. So first of all, we need to prioritize health. Yes, our politicians, our leaders will say in a lot of their speeches they prioritize health, but are your actions speaking that you are really prioritizing health? From what our friends are saying here, it's not showing so. So yes, better working conditions. And I mentioned that ineffective systems is also one of the challenges. So now, from their experiences, you can see that they need to be enrolled. They are not being enrolled, but other people are using other means, and they are getting enrolled. A little investigation will be exposed. We know where the inefficiency is, and we need to hold people accountable. If you have a job to make sure that people are enrolled onto a system, you know the number of students who will graduate by this year, you know that the nurses to patients ratio, you know how it is, you know the facilities, the things. So where as governments, economists, and all of that, you know where the development challenges are, where the investments, like how you plan, like you properly plan for development, where you get investments from, to make sure that at least, because they are not, for me, my issue is they are not even asking for something outrageous. It's just the basic things that nurses need. They need employment. They need to save life. If all our hospitals are overfull with nurses, in fact, even if you don't need nurse, there is a nurse available to take care of you and all of that, and they are not employed, that is fine. But we need them. So we need better working conditions. We need even the facilities. Sometimes, even for those who are employed, some tools that they will need to even work, they don't get. That's also an issue.
See, the bottom line is we just don't have money. Wabeshika 025-625-3461 025-625-3461. If there are any rotational nurses and midwives we are listening to, you want to have you discuss with us what we are talking about. And again, if any of Harunai's team is also watching us, you are professionals, you are already graduates, but you are unemployed. Please call in and let's have this discussion together. All right, let's look at the way forward. We're speaking about planning. What again should government do in order to help us mitigate this whole challenge of unemployment as a whole? Okay,
so you asked the question, my brother, about Terminal 3.
Yes. Okay,
you want to talk as it stands now, that decision is not anything difficult when it comes to the table of nurses and midwives in the country. Okay. You see, like he was saying, it is not that we don't need these nurses. If you go to the healthcare sector, the ratio is very poor. You go to an emergency ward that you find only 2 nurses running that ward. And it's very difficult. It's not that we don't need the nurses. We need them. But we are here planning of exporting nurses for funds. Like we want money through the nurses we train in our country. And you know, these people are exporting the nurses because they have a shortage in their country and they are giving them better conditions. That is why we are moving there. When you look at the conditions that we are working with in Ghana, to mention like in the outside world, where you go there, the healthcare, I mean your personal healthcare is on the government. When you have any accident in line with your duty, you are being taken care of the government when you are ill. But in our health system, even if as a healthcare worker, if you fall sick as a nurse or a midwife, you have to pay everything. There is no insurance or any policy covering you as a nurse. You understand what I'm saying?
Even in a line of duty.
In a line of duty, no.
Wow.
Yes. And then you see, years back, the government of Barbados came to Ghana to have a deal with the government. So as it stands, there has been some hundreds of nurses from Ghana who are actively serving in those countries. Doesn't mean we don't need those people. Our priority now should be...
I have benefit. A benefit, you are watching us from Kuntunase. You are watching more Akwaba. Benefit. Azorba.
Mama
T4 Joe Sodo.
Make an unemployed nurses from School 2029.
Oh.
Say, be more than 4 years age money. Sometimes, before hospital, I pay me, so they are meeting discuss no money. Meet me, I've done it. I will connect 1 year. 2 years, no taking care about 10 patients there. I say, afflicting a choke, but because of some benefits you've been here from here, I know some of my colleagues and work about which are 10,000, you get enrolled.
10,000.
Work. 10,000 more available, but yeah, ordinary Ghanaians now you have 10,000. Get me a cow with you. I can say I'm be a quarter my NSA. Yapo. And some made a certificate, so continue. Say, if we have a proper plan for us, by now, we have been enrolled in the system. they are suffering there. Our senior colleagues are suffering there, but they can't voice it out for us. They can't advocate for us. That's why we are still at home. So if we can do better things for us,
All right, we hope and pray. We hope and pray. Fireman.
Asunjo ka mu biomo.
Enka also so biem.
So fu nyame nhira onya okese. Sa unemployment for no. Mesire eduma e wo man yi mu. Ba youth ya ba ne ya kwadro.
Fireman nurses ni de omunya kwadro. Fireman nurses no. Fireman nurses ni de omunya kwadro ma ye ready. Hello fireman.
Hello.
Fireman, what do you mean?
Hello.
Fireman. Okay. Yenya fireman the number. I don't think that Ghanaian youth are generally lazy. It's not true. Okay. But I have Malachi. Malachi, you are supposed to be a book in the Bible that ends the Old Testament.
Yes, sir.
All right. Western North, you are welcome. Are you a nurse? Rotational nurse?
Yes, please. I'm a rotational nurse.
All right. All right. We are listening to you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity given me. Actually, I've keenly listened to the discussion ongoing. And one of the challenges I can say as rotational nurses is facing is the fact that we are not paid. Actually, a colleague was nearly assaulted some time ago when she was on her way coming to work because she couldn't afford just a mere transportation.
Wow.
It's a very bad thing that is ongoing at our end here. And as was rightly said by some of the members you are having the discussion with, a colleague was asked to pay an amount of 200 cedis before she was even she got hold of her allowance. She was asked to pay an amount of 200 cedis before all the process that surrounded the payment of the allowance could be initiated. That is a very bad thing. We are serving the country, and we have to pay people before they process our allowance payment. Look at all this. We've worked tirelessly for the betterment of our nation, and yet we are not paid. And when we call on the government to help us get the payment to, people will be extorting money from us. This is a very bad thing that is ongoing, and we are not pleased with it at all.
All right.
And again, I have an evidence as a graduate nurse. She has to pay an amount of 6,000 before she was posted. Meanwhile, it wasn't her turn, as was rightly said by the honorable whom has been invited via Zoom. As he was saying, a colleague was to pay 6,000 before she was enrolled onto the system as a staff nurse. This is what is going on in our country.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Malachi. Fireman, you are back. Waba. Okay, your nurse is here, fireman. Omo de omo ye crowd, so ombe ye adwuma, omo ye ready. Na adwuma no omo nya bi nye. Aban
adwuma no sofo adwuma ni de e wo honum abana ya de. But nkofo bi wo honum a omo ya kwadofo, especially the youth of today. They should go and work. Adwuma no wo honum o, but omo go adwuma no ma omo nya discipline, enya adwuma no. No mo jai. I'm telling you, obi be kasa akotua ni so. So for one obi ani wo bi ase anu mo be kasa na akotua so no. But ye di nyansa ina ye di bobra e na nurse for no so no. Mesre nurse for akosu awie, mesre abani se yem post omu. Na yem pay du money from omu because hospitals bebre e wo man yi mu. Ye pe workers ye nya workers for no. Yem post omu no mu ke ye duma ho no. E na nurse for no should be one ma ye de omu ko village. So mun ke ye duma, o mbeka so mun ko. Na won fo te de be ne why serious of peduma, on ko no pe peduma. E be se pa.
All right. You be that's. Also for Edwin feed the world.
So Ninya na pom to say.
Nyame adom say.
Ye me asem ni na me be mu kakra. Na e ya ho tisi ahwe ye ma ma wo mako school abewie na afọ mo sa tifie na ye busa sa dada mam sikanto samra yento credit anam se adwuma na de ko ye ne ye adwuma emma no na ne nyina eye amamu bone a eba ewo oman yi mu the American said that's siasemi efi president mama penso and omu ye say omu fa adwumayefobia and there was a backlog of nurses and omu ho and omu transfer na baby obefa bi and ebe wi aka wo ma ya de nanso enwie peye mesre say sa agenda 111 no ye omu speed up nan hospitals no a wo mo eye no woman family because you just can say you the bed mana yemfa nye adwuma na sese ye so mu ye ndukure no mu ye nka say agenda wa no enka be ma nurses ni bebrebe anya adwuma enti mesra ban no say waye bidie na nso enwie peye ye me de say watifie enti mesra ban
oba wie school
na wo mu
so for oba wie school oye oko nursing training no ahe
o konfa no che
okay ama waye rotation na wie
wa wie atena fie enfie enan ni
4 years wow
so
that's a serious one
enti yebesre was one see ye fanim badge anam ka say sa me no president mama time nipa na ka fie no aba ne ba was fanim badge si the offer 2010 number 2011 2012 santi yisani bi so no anti ebi ho a wo munim ne ye fa no so awuram na che se wuni MP wo fa si bi MP dia wo de kwa say ambo no sana ekoso enti wa wuni aba mu no wunya obi me kwa nsunya sa na yenyo mo nkwa ekoto aba no so enti ese no ama mo fra na ba mu obu enti mesha min manu nkwa se wo mo nkoso na ebe ye daachi na so
yedase obem so obi nwum no so obeye but some radio nibre sempa na be ogo or I don't know, you wanted to add up to?
Yes, I wanted to add up. You know, I went through school without student allowance.
Wow.
Yes, myself and some few other people.
Why?
And then this brings me to the topic that, do you know someone who can do it for you?
Okay.
And since I don't know anyone, I had no one to process my student allowance for me.
Okay.
So some of us...
Somebody is calling on the way from 𝗟𝗜�10 UDS. Mohammed, you are welcome.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Are you a nurse?
No, please. It's my relative who is a nurse.
All right. Let's hear you. Let's hear you.
Please, I'm highly disappointed in the country, the way they... Hello?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Mohammed.
I said I'm highly disappointed in the way the country is being run. Because looking at the nurses, a brother of mine just called complaining that the nurses are not, like, some of them are not intelligent, some of them are misbehaving. They are looking at the current situation of the nation, whereby someone who is supposed to be treated fairly, like the nurses, and for them to process their, how am I going to put it?
Documents.
They need to pay for it. So if I pay for processing my documents, at the end of the day, when I get something, I demand something from the patients. So I think currently our country, we need a new system of governance.
Wow. Thank you so much. That was Mohammed, all the way from 𝗟𝗠𝗙𝗃. And by this we are greeting all our friends who are in the Tamale diocese and everybody who is watching us, Christians, non-Christians, and all of us, WTV family.
Yes.
You were on a point.
Yes. So during our 3 years in school, we were entitled to some monthly allowances.
You didn't have any?
I personally, I didn't even receive 1 CD. And I'm not the only one. And it's unexplained.
But people were receiving it.
People were receiving it. So this is the point. When we went to first year, I think quite a number was not having it. When you get to second year, then I know a colleague who knows someone who worked her out for us, and she started receiving hers.
Wow.
So for me, that I don't know anybody, I couldn't get anyone to process my student allowance for me.
We are
so
in trouble.
I was in trouble. It's basically maybe there was an error in the system, maybe with my name or issue number.
No, it couldn't be an error for 3. But we have Gifty from Dunkwao on our thing. Gifty.
Hello.
Gifty etio.
Me pato. Me a nurse. Me real school. Yatne fia 2020. Any real school.
Oh, why your rotation we etifi?
Me pato.
Kasa, asetena ne te sen, abrabo ne te sen since 2020. Wow.
I said the be a woman, me no papa ne sound so ma obi na odi pediani.
Wait there. Na ede na mo bo aban so mo akwa effort be na waye.
But ya call you paying for on the platform no bonus. Where the lady about to her no can. Say you say you made for any be a obi ko chia 4,000. Ama oye juma ti anu kase.
Hey, and not just wow. Okay. It appears we are getting overwhelming evidence of the fact that people have paid. And just as Haruna and Kwame have said, there is a fact that people have gone to pay, they know them, and they started working.
I think it's high time we hold people accountable. There are heads of these institutions. Somebody is paid to go to their work to make sure that people are enrolled in the system. We need to bring people to book as a country, because all of these things, like these things that are happening, it is not sustainable. Ghana doesn't have a future. He doesn't trust the system. You understand? And people are watching. A child who is 5 years, 10 years, 15 years would not be motivated to become a nurse. A few years to come, nobody wants to enter into the nursing profession, and our patients will die in the hospitals. These are the realities that no, this is what will happen.
Yeah.
You can pray, you can fast, but what is happening, it is not good. This is like, I don't know how to explain for people to understand. The nursing job is a very essential job. It is not something extra. It's not luxury.
Mohammed is back. Mohammed, do you want to add up, eh? Mohammed from Kampala. All right, quickly.
Please, what I just have to say is, I've ever been a victim of nurses being asking me to pay for the services they render for me.
Oh,
and I don't see it to be anything.
All right, so you went to the hospital and a nurse was asking you to pay extra, apart from what you paid.
Yes, my wife was to give that. So we went for an operation, a surgery. So at the end of it, we were made to pay extra.
Wow. All right.
So, and I don't see it to be anything. It is our leaders who is causing it. Because if someone has a qualification, and you have to give him the right to work at the right place, and he pays for the service he or she is going to render. At the end of it, that person will make the patient to pay for what he paid for.
That is this happening. Thank you very much.
I don't blame them.
Thank you.
I've never been a victim. I sent my father to hospital twice. My wife to hospital twice. And I've been a victim in that 4 cases. And I don't blame them.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So Kwame, there are also incidents of nurses extorting money from maybe let's ask your senior. Does he has already passed that he is a qualified nurse? Haruna. Okay. All right. So Haruna will be with us. Okay, sure. Haruna can't hear. We'll get you on. Haruna, we'll work out your lines and get you back. But Kwame, some of your seniors. Okay, let's go to Sunyani and come back. Joe, who frefi Sunyani? Abiki Joe. Joseph, can you hear me? Hi, Joseph. All right. We'll work out your lines again. Yes, please. Okay. I was asking that some of your seniors, your mentors, they are collecting money. They are extorting money from patients.
So with this, I think it's an allegation.
As for this one, there's
yeah, because without
this one, there's allegation.
Without training, this is unprofessional.
It's unethical.
Yes, nurses don't extort money or demand money for services. Even if they have to pay for their services, there are procedures they go through, and nurses don't receive physical cash. You know, it could be that I don't know the point he's speaking from.
Okay, there is a call from Hohoi. Achu Eric. Achu Lege.
Me phone you at the level.
Me phone.
That way.
Me and Yasam, EG.
You have put me down for my rotational message and Midwest of Ghana.
Okay.
Bay dog guy, I want that now.
Ness Nenya.
When you're general association.
Oh, for graduate nurses are low rotational.
Rotational.
Oh, that is one of. Okay. Okay, boss, Kwame Lafi. Okay, Atawa. So speak English so that all others can hear you. All right.
Thank you very much. Mr. President, greetings once again. I'm watching you land.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, this issue need a holistic approach. Rotational nurses are required, as the other people at the studio have said. There is no an association that is formed today. There is an association that has been there. So the problem with the payment with our allowances, where exactly is it coming from? Is it that the government misplaced the priority of the rotational nurses or the nurses in general? You know, before you can submit anything to the ministry or to the minister, it must pass through the records, right? So all our letters, maybe I can confidently say the letters that we have submitted for so many times could be on the table of the Ministry of Records, the records over there. It could be at the table of the records. Maybe the letter has not gotten to the minister as I'm talking to you. So my question is, the record, those who are the records, are they doing their right work? Are they doing what they are supposed to do? So I would like your station to call the records and ask them if our letters that we have submitted so many times has indeed been delivered to the table of the minister. Okay. We want to know from there.
All right. So, General Secretary, we are going to make enough. This is something you can trust 𝗟𝗓 and WTV for. We will go and knock on the doors of the Ministry of Health, Ghana Health Service, and ask for their side of the story. For now, we are only listening from you and your team, but we can promise you that in the subsequent days, we will go and do this knocking. But let's come back. That is your General Secretary. Also very frustrated. You could see that he's also still taking money from his parents.
Yes.
All right, let's take this last call. Joe, briefly from Sunyai, and we can end here. Yeah, Joseph.
Yes, good morning, sir.
Yes, morning, Yetio.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes, clear. You are clear.
Thank you for this opportunity. Yeah, I thank you for the opportunity to make a contribution to this discussion that is ongoing about youth employment. I'm a nurse practicing for some years now.
Okay.
I think in the nursing profession or the nursing and midwifery profession in general, there's no any laid down policy as to when and how a rotational nurse, when a rotational nurse finishes his or her rotation, the time frame for one to be put, because the more you stay in the house, the more you become, let me say, harmful to your patient. Because when you are posted, you need to go through, your seniors have to take you through another process in teaching you to learn some few things again. And then it is not really encouraging, it's not helping the process. Imagine that I am in a particular ward and a person has been posted newly to the place, and I have an emergency. The person is not also abreast because the person has been posted newly, and it's going to affect the smoothness of the run of the shift.
Right.
And that is why we, the nursing profession, I am actually disturbed and so emotional about somebody staying in the house for 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Very bad. Thank you, senior. Thank you, senior. Senior from Sunyai. So that should be one of your seniors. Let's take some 30 minutes comments from both of you. Did I say second? Would have ended next year. All right, so Kwame, let's take some 30 seconds comments from you.
So with the solutions, where you could see that basically it's not just about the unemployment. There are a lot into it. It being from our training back to, to rotation and then to our posting. And then when you look at the problems on the ground, the nurse to patient ratio is low. Facilities are not enough. And then the government is doing well by the Agenda 111. They are building hospitals. We trust in that process that those hospitals are completed and then we have enough places to work. But when you look at places like the tertiary hospitals like 𝗟𝗡𝗡, I know you've been hearing of no bed syndrome. You could see that there's pressure on the system that we already have. So the policymakers should rather bring up policies, build infrastructures. They shouldn't focus on, maybe they feel that they have the funds, they can travel abroad and seek health care. But what are you going to do there? If their system were to be like yours, would you have traveled out of your country to go there? So we should build our own system, build the hospitals, give the infrastructures and then the amenities, equipment we want to practice in your country. Provide those things for the people so that, as they are leaving to go and seek health care, I wouldn't be surprised that they'll be meeting their Ghanaian nurses taking care of them there.
Yeah.
So what happens to our country? We are collapsing our country. WHO predicted shortage of nurses, and it's already happening in the outside world. Even in our country, though we are having the skilled personnel, but we are still shorting nurses. I mean, unemployed nurses are there and they are not having work. So all these systems need to be put in place. With rotation nurses, we are still having the hopes that there will be a proper planning for us so as we be employed right after our rotation, because you finish with the skills. As I was saying the last time, that the national service shouldn't be a choice, but rather mandatory, because it helps us learn the job. We acquire the skills through this national service. This 1 year period, some of us, I was saying, when you meet us on the ward, you don't know we are rotation nurses, because we've got equipped and then we are okay with the work. We are delivering just as if you enter the emergency ward, we are delivering. But we go and stay home 4 years and come back.
You'll be rusty. Okay, let's take some 30 minutes from you.
We've understood the problems. We know our population is young. We see the issues that the nurses are going through.
Yes.
But some of the challenges and the ineffectiveness in the systems is not helping us create sustainable solutions for the country. Because like I mentioned, in a few years to come, it will not be attractive for any young person to enter into the nursing profession. And it's such a noble and essential profession. We are taking the trust away from these people who are literally serving the nation. We should not do that. And I want each policymaker should personalize them. If your child is home for 4 years, maybe you have the resources to support them in all of that, but from the cause, and we are watching this online and all of it, so this is public knowledge, this is public information. This is not something we are whispering in secret. You understand? So we are aware of the problems. We need better working conditions for our nurses. Their allowances need to be paid before, it should be paid in time, or time for them to be able to, you work. Also, the ineffectiveness in the system should be identified, and people should be held accountable, need to be held accountable, because I know it is not a comfortable thing to do, but we need to help the nurses save lives and contribute to the development.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Haruna, I have been giving everybody 30 minutes, so you also have 30 minutes. All right, so 30 seconds, please.
Thank you very much. So you see, the problem. One of the my fears is that we have been to school for some 3 years, others 4 years. And then you learn for 3 or 4 years and unlearn for 4 good years. This is very serious. And there's no training after your rotation if you don't get to a private facility to practice. There's no training from the ministry or whatever. And so you have to stay home for 4 years, and when you get to the field, you will have to learn all over. You know how the system, my brother Kwame will attest to that it is practical. And so you will have to, you see, it's a hands-on. Once you get out of it, it's difficult to catch up again. To bounce back. When you are absorbed into the system. And you know, our system, there is absolutely no in-service training for professionals. So that is my fear now.
All right.
For some, they can stay home. You see, one of your callers was saying that we are lazy. Yeah, I have people amongst us who are riding motorbikes to survive. But the fear now is this person has gone to learn for 3 years or 4 years and is now riding a motorbike and is doing that for 4 years. You see, that person will have to be catching a human body. And this, you know, even this, when someone, a shoemaker, would have to do it continuously before it becomes,
in order to gain the mastery.
Mending the shoe.
Yeah, Kwame, Haruna, our time unfortunately is just on the dot, and we want to thank you so much. So that is Haruna, and he is the president. He is your senior, and so Haruna is the president of the Graduate Unemployed Nurses and Midwives Association. Ibrahim Haruna, thank you so much for being with us. We also had with us Kwame Amable Jr. He is the president of Rotational Midwives and Nurses Association of Ghana. We also had with us Oko. Your organization, before you go, remember that I said I'm going to ask you something when we go behind the scene about your organization, so that I don't forget. So that is Francis Oko, who is also with youthcommunity.org. Please, grateful. We are coming back soon to wrap up. Stay with us.
Amaba Yeswe Mahoy, Agbamana Vuna Mamai Mauba, Yeswe Mahoy, Agbamana Vuna Mamai Maubo. Anamadon Kunguyo Yesu Wanam Tila, Naraka Mali Maglonu, Nebe Magloniba Akpa, Ayatama by Yeswe Mahoy, Agbamana Vuna Mamai Mauba, Yeswe Mahoy, Agbamana Vuna Mamai Maubo. Ododio Naho. Naho. Yesu wetu jada, toya oto amadeke matemwachio. 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 Baba Yesu wetu jada, toya oto amadeke matemwachio. Yesu wetu jada, toya oto amadeke matemwachio. Tonya omiba, miba mijo omya Yesu ko, kanya oto na Yesu. Chikadeke manchomya po, aupa toa de onya. Ala rusi kanya, nela nuwa madeke mawana siho. Ayo tono oka, akachi pesa sewo buju buju. Yatami kafuma udatae.
No. Next tomorrow when we come, you tell us where exactly you come from. About it.
All right, so this is a dedication to Miato Kata Lava. So all the people right from Srogbe all the way into Jalukopé beyond Keta, even to Denu and Aflao. This is a dedication from all of us here, Sorena Shrine, to all of our people along the coast. We are saying that God be with you and protect you. So this is how we are dropping down the curtains. But before we go, as usual, let's call our sponsors and wish them well.
Okay, so we want to say thank you to 𝗟𝗏𝗘 Insurance for all your insurance needs. Don't forget them at all. Multi-credit savings and loans. The method is Invest in Ghana. Admissions are still ongoing. KFK Foods for all your breakfast, your lunch, and your supper, including your pastries. And of course, Sankofa Natural Spices. We are tired of grinding all our spices. This time, the spices are all in a sachet. No preservatives, no salts, no MSG. So don't grab a sachet and add to your food.
Okay, we are going. Come on.
Thank you. I will see you same time tomorrow morning. Enjoy the rest of our program.
Come on. See you tomorrow.
Yes,